6-inch metal studs, lineal foot of top track, lineal foot of bottom track, square foot of parapet, plywood and back of parapet, square foot of 1.5 inches insulation, square foot of foam in place insulation, square foot of weather barrier, lineal foot of 12-inch base flashing, and lineal foot of 12-inch lintel flashing, and mortar net, lineal foot of mortar net, okay? So if we look at our drawings, on Weatherford, what you're going to be working to generate are the square feet of particulars on this back wall, the south wall of the building, okay? That's the only wall you have to do, only one wall. You're not doing all 4 walls, just one wall, okay? Now, whenever you look at an elevation, the problem with an elevation is it starts at finished floor level and goes up. It doesn't show you anything that happens below finished floor level. So if you go look at your floor plan, you can see here that you have all the information. Here's your lineal foot right here of the wall, and I can go look at these wall sections. Here is a section cut through a overhead door. So I go look at that on 1A61. You'll see it shows I've got a detail I can look at for the bottom. Here's where my overhead door is. There's the top of the overhead door for the opening. There's the bottom of the window sill, okay? And you have your top of wall elevation here. So you will not be using OST to generate these quantities. You'll be generating them from the information you find on the floor plan and the section and detail cuts. Okay, here's detail 2, A61 through a personnel door. You'll look at that detail. See where the bottom is. Here's our head of our door. Right here. Gives us that elevation. And then we have our top of wall elevation there. Go back and look at the next section cut right here. 1A62 is through a wall with no opening. Go look at that. You can see that we have the bottom of the wall here. We have a detail we can go look at to see the bottom of the wall. So if I got a 2A66. See what happens at the bottom of the wall, dimensions and everything, okay? Here's your face brick, here's your mortar net, here's your rigid insulation, here's your weather barrier that goes on your CMU, and here's your CMU, okay? Here's your flashing that goes through the wall, all right? So you can see what those conditions are by looking at different details, okay? And that's what you're looking for when you're looking through your drawings. Find that information. Top of your wall. Yeah, there's an elevation for that. Shows you the top wall elevation. Okay. So those are the parameters you're going to be looking for on Part A. Horizontal reinforcing in the wall. It says continuous horizontal reinforcing at 16 inches on the center vertically, okay? So right here, you got wire reinforcing that lays in that bed joint. That's what you're quantifying, not rebar, just the wire in the horizontal bed joint, okay? Try to find that out, find out the lineal total of the foot you have for that. On Part B, again, you're going to be using the Eugene McCray drawings. On Part B, looking at your floor plan, you're going to be doing the new walls, the new construction. So you got the right wall, the top wall, and the left wall. Those are the walls you're going to be quantifying. You're not quantifying anything inside. You're not quantifying any existing. Just the new exterior envelope walls is what you're looking for. So if you look at your section cuts, okay. It shows the bottom. If I go to that detail, 1AA2 shows what goes on the bottom of that wall. happens at the bottom of the wall, all right? Here's your mortar net, rigid insulation, your sheathing. You've got some, weather barrier there. You got your bricks and your airspace, so forth. Okay, you go up the wall, you can see what it looks like, where the wall insulation and roof insulation intersect there. You go up and see the top of the wall, where the brick stops, the top of the parapet. Parapet is where a wall extends above the roof level. You see on the back side of this parapet, I have 3/4 treated plywood. That's one of the quantities you have to get. The square foot of treated plywood is the back of the parapet, okay? On that one. So looking at your different details, finding out information on how to calculate different parameters about the quantities for different parameters of materials within the buildings, okay? Again, make sure that you give me a detailed takeoff that supports the recap that you provide for each one, okay? And you can have these on the same spreadsheet. You don't have to have two separate spreadsheets. You can do part A up here and do part B below it, okay? Any questions on assignment 8? Remember, it's due in 1 week, okay? I need you to have that back in a week so I can get it graded back to you to study for exam 2 that's coming up pretty quick, okay? So, go ahead and get assignment 8 done by Tuesday. I'll get it graded back to you so you can study for exam. I'll have your, should start giving some papers back to you. You'll start seeing like the grader grades when you get back to you.
Professor Palmer?
Yes, sir.
Can you show us where we're looking on part B again?
Part B?
Where we're looking at?
Yeah, on part B, okay? On part B, you're gonna be looking for the 3 new walls, this wall, and this wall, okay? The 3 new walls, exterior walls is what you're working on, okay? On part A, you're just doing that one south wall along column line A. On part B, you're doing all 3 exterior walls, so all 3 new exterior walls.
What's the page for part A that we're taking off?
Well, the floor plan for part A, you use multiple pages, you won't be able to find everything on one page. The floor plan is on
Well, it's going to be that part.
A 1-1, and you'll find your details from that, okay? On part B, the floor plan is shown on sheet A2-1. Okay.
Thank you.
What's the main?
We're over 2, right?
Is this the main page for part A?